The following program contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and the girls, welcome to Ox After Dark, the late night great night show where Dean, the Dream, Martin, Chris Porteous, John the Everyday Collector, Lane, the Legend, Kramer, and Mike talk about our dreams, our lives, our trials, our tribulations, and more. We are going to skip our weeks just for a moment. Let me pull up. I was told that the boys wanted to chat toys for a moment. And oh my god, my internet is fucking
Chug-a-lugging?
No, it's not chugging, it's just autocorrect is fucking my asshole right now. Wow. So before we get into the discussion at large, I did have, oh my god, why the fuck does Instagram work so poorly on the computer? I do have a minor retraction to make. Dean, a man can only admit when he was wrong.
It's true.
And honestly, I blame Connor a little bit here, but I take no blame. So yesterday we mentioned an Instagram account that had shared the images, and it was my understanding that they were the ones that disassembled the figure. Turns out they were sharing it from a Korean forum, and so they weren't the ones that actually disassembled the figure. So the oh haha ya guy was not directly involved. He had just shared the photos to Instagram for us English-speaking fools. But the photos in question are... Let me see here.
Was this JND Joker? The Kojin?
Yeah, the Kojin Works Joker.
Oh, jeez.
A collector on the Korean forum, I don't know which forum, I haven't gotten that far, disassembled their Joker.
Oh boy.
And this is what was inside the head portrait. This is the skull that was inside both of those portraits.
That's quite ghoulish.
This was the hand inside of the silicone sort of half forearms. There's a look at the head there, the forearms with the finger, and another look at the hands. Now,
spend $1,800 and tear it apart.
Lane, we're not speculating on that. I'm not sure. It could have been that it was damaged. We mentioned yesterday it might have been damaged and he had to destroy it anyways. So, at any rate, a person in Korea did this. I don't know who it was. Haven't figured that out yet. Now, those images made the rounds yesterday. We covered it briefly on CW. And this morning I had seen this statement by JND Studios. In December, we shared a Kojin Works brand introduction video where we explained that future Kojin Works products would feature a 1/6 scale silicone heads, internal skeletons, and concealed articulated neck joints. This content was intended to showcase the general characteristics of the Kojin Works product line. The skeleton head shown in the video was a test sample used to explain the brand's features. Its purpose was to intuitively demonstrate via the video that an internal skeleton is necessary for Kojin Works concealed articulation features to function. However, the skeleton skeleton shown in the video, which includes fully sculpted eyeballs and more makes it impossible to implement magnetic eyeballs, rolling system, rooted hair, or realistic dental expressions. As mentioned, the skeleton was designed to serve as a gimmick for Kojin Works' unique concealed articulation. In practice, we have improved and refined the skeleton system to allow for features such as eyeball movement, rooted hair, and detailed teeth expressions in the Kojin Works Joker. They go on to say that future characters will have different internal structures. And they also shared this, which is the Test 1, Test 2, and Test 3, which is the final internal skeletons. Now, I think to present this, in the most fair way, we'll watch their video in its entirety. And I would say there's a weird cut in the video specifically on the skull portion. And I'm not saying that this is what I think happened, but I know when you edit a video in situ, the cuts are very jarring. It's not a very organic, like a video editor that Chris might use for his work. It's very like rudimentary. Now, I'm also saying that we don't have the copy of this video, so we can't have nothing to compare it to. I tried to watch a few streams, but no one watched this exact video in its entirety. So, grain of salt on that one.
What's up, y'all? I'm Daniel, and this is JND News, episode number
Now, this
20.
video
Today,
was also, just to add a little bit more context, sorry. December 13th, 2023.
Talk about what everyone is asking about. The 1-to-6 scale articulated product launch by JND Studios. And when I say articulated, you know it ain't no ordinary articulation. Now, have you seen the reels? We call it the invisible joint technology hidden beneath the silicone. No more ball joints and gimmicky looking action figures. We're going all out with these articulations, and it's JND's worldwide patented and patent pending technology. To be more specific, we have the silicone eye socket production patent, we have the invisible multi-joint technology pending patent, and we have the magnetic controllable glass eyes, which is also patent pending. All invented by the master himself, Kojin. Hence, JND's 1-to-6 scale action figure products will be of the product line called Kojin Works. Now, what is up with the combination of accessories? So we have 3 types of combinations. Type A.
So the cut that I want to focus on,
all
that's
out
a bit
with these
odd.
articulations.
And again, I'm not saying that it means anything.
Technology. To be more specific, we have the silicone eye socket production patent. We have the
that cut right there. It's an odd cut. I remember there being like a good pause there where we saw the skeleton, because a lot of people had that screenshot. I don't know where that's from, but at any rate, the screenshot. I can check that in a second, but this is the screenshot that was that I think was edited out. I'm not sure. I am not sure. We're not talking about that right now, Lane. So it's my opinion. So me and Chris were kind of going back and forth on this. It's my opinion that I think it's either at best incompetence by JND and at worst highly deceptive. I know that we were all talking about it in the Patreon chat, and I certainly agree with some of what Chris is saying, right? Like, does this break the figure? Probably not. But at the price that this thing was going for, Type C was $16.99, and I feel like personally the way that this was presented, and again, I don't have the original cut of this video. I felt like it focused on this a little bit more. I vaguely remember them showing it articulating in the skull, but I could be wrong. That's pure speculation. In my opinion, the way that they presented this was very much like, hey, we're showing you this with this skull inside because the figure will also have this inside. Now, I did look at the Wayback Machine, and to their credit, I don't see that formally mentioned. But I think it was certainly implied by the video. And I would say as well that I don't think it's quite clear that this is meant to be like a gimmick to showcase how this would have worked.
What other benefit does this offer, putting a skull in the figure?
And you know what? Actually, John, I think I found a copy of this video, or a partial copy of this video. So let's look at this here. So remember I said I felt like that was a cut. And I remember seeing this here, where they handled the skull, and everyone was like, holy crap, like there's a skull inside, like that's crazy.
Yeah, but it doesn't offer anything. That's the thing, right?
See, I disagree with that, John. I disagree with that a little bit.
By definition.
100%. Like it doesn't. If this guy didn't, there's no value in that skull. It's cool to know that, hey, essentially it's a sales gimmick. Hey, my Joker here, I could pull up the video and it shows that there's a skull there. But I don't think if you look at the way that Joker was engineered and the way they're bringing it to market now, after this recall, it looks skull or not skull. I don't know what the skull would add. Extra jawline
so what
support?
yeah, exactly. I think the skull. I think the main benefit, and we talked about this in Patreon chat. I think the benefit is adding a rigid structure that the silicone, would then be encapsulated. Would encapsulate that rigid structure. I don't know. I've never owned a silicone head sculpt, so to be clear, I don't know how rigid they are. I know with Fisons, like, it's pretty malleable. Every Fison I've ever owned, like, you can contort them in some really weird ways, and I feel like they're not, like, there is that skeleton inside that I think does provide some structure to the figure. I think the problem that I have here, I don't have a problem that, hey, we wanted to do it like this initially, it didn't work out, we had to change it. I think that happens all the time, right? But I think waiting until someone rips the figure apart to then tell people, like, oh, by the way, that was actually just a gimmick, I think that's pretty disingenuous. That's my opinion. I agree. We kind of went back and forth, like, is it a gimmick to have a skull inside? Sure. I mean, there's also Fisons that are anatomically correct. That's also a gimmick, but, like, that's part of what you're paying for, right? You're paying an amount, in this case $16.99, and you're saying, okay, so it's actually not going to have that internal skull, but it's going to have, like, this weird fifth size, maybe not fifth, maybe like 50% of the skull it should have had. It's a small cost, I think, but if you're paying for it, I think you'd want everything that was solicited. And I don't think that in their video or any of their marketing that it was clear that that was a gimmick, in the sense, like, oh, this isn't really what you're getting. And I'm curious what the panel thinks.
The only other thing to mention is, did they mention it in the sales, on the sales page of the piece, that there was going to be a skull in the figure, right?
It's mentioned, like, internal joints and stuff like that.
I mean, there
the
is
skull is a
technically
joint.
a skull. It's
Yeah,
just
but it's
not
not
the
the full
full
skull.
skull.
Yeah.
I think that this is. I think they could have communicated it. It might have been an oversight, but absolutely not a big deal whatsoever. The whole 1600, you're not. The skull for me would be. I don't look at it as part of the 1600 with what you're getting with the figure.
Yeah. There's a lot of Hot Toys dropping right now, by the way.
It's all the nooks and everything else that you're getting. The rooted hair, the silicone, the JND, the price of the JND name.
Yeah, but you're paying for the silicone, but you're also paying for the stuff that's inside the silicone, including, in this case, the skeleton that they showed in the solicitation.
I don't agree that the skeleton is.
I mean, in your case, John, like,
value?
I feel like there's been instances where, like, a statue has. I feel like I've seen, like, oh, it's going to be advertised with this, but it comes out with, oh, maybe it doesn't have that full support structure on the inside. Is that the same, or is that different?
Well,
like, if the engineering of something, if the engineering of a statue changes from pre-order,
yeah, but that becomes an engineering issue. That doesn't become I'm not getting what I paid for.
Well, in this case, it was an engineering issue. They said they couldn't make the eyes work.
Yeah, but so they came up with another plan. It's not an engineering issue. It only becomes an engineering issue if this head starts to cave in, which we can't go ahead and assume.
Which we wouldn't know that. Yeah, we wouldn't know that yet.
I think that this is just a way to.
So do you know for I don't know this. This is actually just a real question, but for the JND life size, do they have a skull on the inside?
Is it solid? I've never seen a JND with a skull with a statue.
It's just like a giant silicone.
They've never shown anything.
Well, you guys probably know that there's a whole science to, like biologists who understand how, like, muscles work and everything can attempt to recreate someone's face just by the shape of their skull. Museum people do this, making exhibits of Neanderthals and whatnot, right? But when you have something like a molded silicone sculpt, there is absolutely no reason that underneath structure needs to actually look like a human skull, except the part, if the teeth are showing through, that makes sense. But, like, the bone shape is absolutely not necessary for any sort of functionality or shape of the sculpt. Like, there's no way the guys here are doing the work to like reverse engineer what Heath Ledger's skull actually looked like. They're taking a file that is a human skull.
It's a generic human skeleton. Yeah.
I
guess
no
for me,
reason
it's this whole marketing skeleton 1/6 scale action figure, and then they're showing you everything, right? Like it's
and what happened was
to me it's not a big deal.
Ripped right off the face.
Probably the thin silicone. Yeah.
And then you look at the picture, the 3 steps, which I can't. It's crazy to me they even showed the 3-step photo because the second one is an undersized skull.
It's just
where
like scale smaller.
Yeah, which they're like, oh man, we know these guys are gonna come after us if we don't put the human skull in there, so we better just shrink it down so the silicone can still work. And then that probably ripped also or something, or they just couldn't get the hair in properly, and you're left with what you're left with. But you see, even like the shape of the jaw joint there, like is this okay? Do you see these teeth through on any of the sculpts or no?
No.
I believe I'm on. Hang on, let me.
I don't think you do.
Yes, you do.
You do
on one of them. Mm-hmm.
So that's an articulated jaw, or the teeth just show through on one skull?
You see the teeth on this portrait.
Okay.
I think Type C has 2 different portraits. There's one where he's like mouth closed and one where he's mouth open.
But that's the skull. Like that mouth is open. You can open and close the mouth.
No, you just see the teeth because there's an opening.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So those
the flesh
are the
is
sculpted.
Exposed.
Yeah, so on that one case, the skull is part of the visual sculpt, but that's the only one head that's the case, right? And so that's teeth that are necessary, not the shape of a human jawbone, for example.
Let me play vernacular here with you, Chris, though. Someone that did go to school for this stuff. When you say internal skeleton, the skull is like a part of the skeleton. Granted, I'm sure the JND Kojin works aren't like
being
that anatomical, but
you saw the hand.
You saw the hand exactly.
That's a armor. That's like you might call that.
Yeah, but that's standard practice. Like I wouldn't expect them to do like the 38 bones of the hands or however many of the bones.
There's no reason it should be any different for the skull. Like it's mechanical necessity to have a articulated figure.
I guess for me, they didn't show the skeleton of the hand; they showed the skeleton of the head.
Yeah, which is a novelty. It is a gimmick.
It should have been clear though. They could have made that much clearer.
So, what monetary value would you put on that skeleton of the skull inside the figure?
I prescribe. Someone couldn't pay me $100 to put this in my collection, so I don't value this at all. To be clear, but I do think the like the whole figure. I would never pay this much money for this.
Yeah.
Okay, but business wise, like in the market, you're in the market figure market.
I think the more that I want to focus on is this has already been recalled once. It came out 5 months ago. They immediately recalled it. They're now just re-releasing it, and then now this happened. That's kind of where I'm at. It's like they're making these boneheaded decisions and moves.
I would say feel nervous.
They're really just unforced errors.
I would say feel nervous about your Catwoman and your Batman.
Yeah, I would say just I agree. I agree with everybody's points in terms of John and Chris. You're absolutely right. Does this affect the figure? Not one bit. But the point is that they're not giving us what's advertised, right? So yeah, it's not going to affect anything, but that doesn't change the fact, whether it's monetary or functionality, it's not what they sold us on.
They're not very professional.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, it's
true.
just kind of a sketchy thing, and it's fine if if it doesn't work, if they couldn't get it to work, just say that, right? Because InArt did it with Gandalf. They were doing the magnetic eyes. They flat out came and said we couldn't get it to work.
I think they were a little late, but you are correct. They did say that.
Right, but
they were like
11th somebody
hour.
Tore the head off. You know what I mean? You're right. They announced it when they were giving you the fireworks, and they said,
exactly.
That was giving you extra stuff.
Exactly. I think that's if you have to do it, I think that's the way to do it, for sure.
Yeah. I think it just seems to be a sketchy, for lack of a better term, a sketchy company, just doing more sketchy things, right? Like just not being open and upfront with what we're getting.
To answer your question though, Chris, I don't know. Like if you're saying this is $1,700, I don't know how much value there is in the skull and the process to mold the silicone. I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't think this is worth $750. So
it's probably too fragile.
I think that's probably it. The amount of flesh. I think
I think it's a tough one. I think because of the video showed the skeleton, they could have easily just come out and say, "Hey, this
like
is
a
kind
simple
of."
disclaimer, like
But
you know,
that's
this
the
is
thing.
for
It's
illustrative purposes.
But it's so simple that it might have been an oversight. And I'm not trying to defend JND, but it's like the company made some mistakes. Instead of issuing the figure with the mistakes, like the majority of companies do, they recalled the figure, brought it back to the drawing board, and fixed what they had to, and are releasing a fantastic figure. And we're
But do you really think they could predict that people would get pissed off by this? Because I'm not.
That's
so
what I'm
sure.
saying. I think it was such an oversight that they didn't. Like, I look at JD on the statue side.
I think they could have predicted this.
One of the best companies on the market right now, with the product they're putting forward, the open communication, and
I don't think that they've had that attitude at all with 6 scale. In fact, I think they've been very cocky in the way that they've presented a lot of this stuff.
And so I don't have any experience with the statue side, so I
Yeah,
can't
me
speak to John's take on that, which I would completely say that if anyone's going to know it, John's going to know it. But when it comes to the figures,
they've been like that. They've
been just that. I'm sorry.
They've been like that sometime with some of their statue releases too, and snarky.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I just
a good way to put it.
know with the figures, to Zach's point, they've been very cocky, very arrogant, we are better than everybody, including our customers sometimes. And this is how awesome we are. And the fact that while they may still be awesome compared to the rest, turns out they're not as awesome as they thought they were, and they just felt like they didn't want to admit it.
Do you think it would be a big deal if indeed they did go back and edit this video in situ and just delete that 10-second close-up on the skeleton? Right. Which
without an announcement, yeah.
I think that would be a bit
only if it's specifically claimed that this figure is going to have that. Like, I don't know how they phrased it in the original unedited video.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was this image right here, skeleton 1/6 action figure.
Yeah, that's pretty
this
generic.
Is a Joker anywhere.
The whole video is about the Joker. All of this whole video is about specifically the Joker.
Yeah.
This was like the hype video, the action figure with technology patent. Like, they were showing off all the engineering and all the patents that they had to make this figure.
It's pretty fair.
Yeah,
I think I do think it's at worst. I think it's gaslighting to say, "Oh, clearly this was just a gimmick." And I think we're using gimmick. I think
they use the word gimmick. They're like, no more of these gimmicky toys.
And then
let's put a fucking gimmick
Yeah.
thing in it. It's like
a year later.
Yeah.
More than a year later.
At any rate, that's our discussion on that. I think we've.
What do you think of the Joker, though? A good question is, what do you think of the Joker compared to what's on the market?
I honestly don't.
You don't care? Okay.
No, I don't.
As someone who owns the InArt and owns probably all the other Hot Toy ones that have come out, this thing is ridiculous.
You have the InArt still?
I have the InArt still boxed up, never displayed. Yep.
Damn, bro, minty.
This thing looks wild. This thing is crazy what they're doing in 1/6.
Did you like the way it looked initially 5 months ago?
I didn't pay too much.
I did not think it looked good, to be honest. The most recent time that I've seen it, where like they released like the blogger photos, I did not like the way it looked.
I don't like that it just came with the dogs. I think if this came with the jail cell scene,
hungry.
the way InArt did, but whatever they did, whatever they took back to the drawing board and recalled and fixed, whatever they're bringing, if you paid the money, if your product looks like that production that they shared, you should be a happy camper because it looks damn good.
You guys would know, but like, is there anything that's like 4 or 5 years old with hands like that at 1/6 scale on the market, and like how has that held up?
Not silicone, no.
No, there's a few like the damn toys. Those like military figures have those hands.
I don't
Not
think it's
silicone,
Not
but
silicone.
It's like that where there's the wire with the little holes.
yeah, but
I would say those don't hold up remarkably well, but you usually have gloves on them, so it doesn't really matter.
That ripped finger was a little worrisome, but
Because like if you
So-
watch,
so
they
this is-
give videos for maintenance on the silicone statues, and you know they're like powdering those things and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you gotta baby it. So I guess also like they've updated us on this often. So I guess I just don't see why they wouldn't like say, hey, you know, that didn't work out.
Underneath,
like, there's a whole section for the face.
Because it's a bad news story, because it's a lose-lose. They put it out the way it was advertised. 5 guys rip it first week. They change it.
I don't
Everybody's
think
like, I don't
so.
get my skull anymore. That's what's happening now.
No,
So
you throw in the shotgun, I think it would be fine. Because that's the one thing missing from this figure.
I don't
You
think
say, hey,
anybody
we
would
fucked
care,
up on
to
the
be
skull.
honest. If they
I
said,
think people
"Hey,"
do care.
Yeah,
People were
'cause,
caring all over the. All
yeah,
over
now because it makes it seem like they're being disingenuous by not sharing it. But I think if they came out when they did the,
they aren't being disingenuous.
I think
They
when
fucking they release a statement after the fact.
well, they're gonna respond to everybody's comments, right? I just think that if they came out and at that time and said, "Oh, by the way, we're changing the skull," and then they showed the production photos that we saw now, nobody would care. It's just because now it's the company
100%
backtracking.
because they would have been honest about it,
Yeah.
right? Because nobody cared about when Inart couldn't do it with Gandalf. I mean, I don't think they caught any heat with that. So yeah, I think if you're just upfront with it, nobody.
I mean,
would have
I
cared.
was annoyed by that, but hey, they fucked up. They're throwing in a fucking firework.
Right.
Like, okay, like
What was it with Gandalf they messed up?
they tried to do the magnetic eye thing as well, or something with the eyes. I don't remember the exact
Yeah, it was the
nuance,
magnetic
but
eyes.
basically like right when it released, they're like, hey, we tried, we couldn't make this work as a, I don't know, like a condolence or gift or I don't know what the fuck the word I'm trying to use is, but they gave everyone a free firework with the Gandalf. So we got 3 Hot Toys that dropped tonight. Right after we went live, we have Clone Commander Gregor.
Gregor.
That looks cool.
I like that digital camo. Looks fucking sick, my guy. This one's pretty cool because if I recall, I don't think he didn't have a whole team with him, right, Dean? It was just him on that one planet, right? In that episode.
It's been a while, but I believe so.
Yeah, he was like the last one left. This is really cool. I actually like Gregor quite a bit.
Limited
They
release,
also limited a release. They also announced the Mark III Stealth Mode version 2.0. I know that's a big comic color. I know not a huge fan personally, but I know there's a lot of people that are gonna like this. So there's that. I'll show you guys the last figure, and then we can circle back to whatever you guys want to talk about, or we can just go back to regular After Dark. Superman with Crypto from the new movie. This is photos were leaked a few days ago. I don't think Hot Toys can really sculpt dogs because that dog looks pretty bad. And they're doing sort of the I think Mike, you pointed this out, the in-art styling where there's no
Yeah, so it's actually it's magnet. So they're one-upping in art. There's a if you go to the last page where it shows like everything.
Was the in-art not a magnet? I thought you undid it and then the magnet.
No, it's
just
stuck
screw it
into
in?
the back of the body.
It just plugs in.
Right.
Yeah,
Plug
but if
and
you
play.
go to the page where it shows all the everything, that last page, you can see you have to zoom in on the shot right there.
Oh, it goes through the cape?
That looks,
It's yeah. If
Oh,
gonna just be
there's not a
magnetic.
hole. It just ports. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So I'm assuming the magnet's under the suit on the body, so
Yeah.
it would be essentially a seamless
be a strong
magnetic
magnet.
stand.
this
if you
figure
will.
looks really good. The likeness is spot on, but that rod coming out of that right there, that photo, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, would you rather it be clear or
No,
black?
you know what? I think it's fine because at least you'll have the cape to pose around it, right? I mean, you can
and then
adjust
you
the
can
cape
also
to-
remove that part
to
too.
hide
It
it.
seems.
Yeah, but then the
And it
cape
looks
has
like
a hole or no?
No.
No, it
I
looks
think
like
they're
it
just
goes
showing
straight
pressed
through.
up against the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like the
Yeah, they don't see a hole.
Either way, likeness is spot on. That looks really good.
cape looks like it might be pretty wired pretty well for posing too, unless it's 2 different ones they're doing.
I like the little cape on Crypto.
Yeah, that's cool.
Weird
Yeah,
how
so
they
say
didn't,
if you get
they
a-
didn't they
a
didn't
drape
give you a
cape with it?
secondary hair like they usually been doing, because this looks almost like he's been flying around. His hair's kind of messy. They should have gave it like a cleaner look as well.
Maybe you're gonna get a Clark Kent.
God,
that
there's even worse than Clark Kent.
is true.
It's got that
I think
fucking
you're onto
rock
something, John.
Yep.
So you can remove. Looks like, John, you can remove that little port on the
Yeah,
top of the
for
iceberg
sure,
or
for
whatever
sure,
this
yeah.
is, and then you also can remove that whole structure.
Oh, can you? Okay, good.
Yeah. So there's
Mm.
3 different displays. Nice hand selection too. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's a good looking.
You have to, right? Because you can't. It doesn't come with anything
Yeah.
else. No heat vision sculpt. or
Yeah, no
anything like
heat
that?
vision seems kind of crazy. Like a second portrait, or maybe there's a deluxe coming.
Maybe he doesn't have his heat vision.
I'm sure they're gonna
feature
do a
in the
battle
movie.
damage version.
Yeah, that's a
What's
good
the
point.
price, Charlie, on this one?
I don't think it's up yet.
That's interesting.
Looks pretty good though. I'm still not a fan of the suit, but that has nothing to do with the figure.
Yeah. Do you think
But
the
I think the
likeness
figure
is
looks
good?
pretty dope.
I do.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I do think it's really good.
I don't have a strong opinion. I feel like I need to. I've only seen the one trailer, so I don't know.
He looks a little bit more buff here than he does in the
I was
film.
just gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
From what we're seeing.
Yeah.
All I know is that the video they showed of them.
The actor was saying it didn't look like him.
Yeah, the video. Yeah,
Well,
that video.
That's not really what
It looked like he didn't.
Yeah,
care
that's not
at all.
what he said at all.
What did he say? He said it doesn't. What
says-
was?
No,
No, he said it doesn't look like him. It looks like Superman.
yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's what
he
he
was
was
kind of implying that it doesn't look like,
That's
all he sees is Superman.
That's a stupid thing to say.
He was big modest.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that dog's fucking terrible.
Zach, you're a fucking hater, bro.
Dude, you know I am, bro. At least
Jack's
I'm
been
consistent.
having a rough
though,
week.
you know?
I think. He's been having a rough week.
I had a rough week. Yeah, you're not wrong. Damn, that dog, dude. They gotta stop
It's not
with the
good.
dogs, man. That fucking. It's not worse than Eagly, to be clear. The fucking eagle, bro.
Who's Eagly?
From the John Cena figure.
Oh, the
That fucking broad ass eagle, Dean.
yeah.
No, but this thing is definitely on par with Einstein, minus the
Yeah.
seam.
It might be a little bit better than Einstein.
I'd say just
like
the seam.
Minus
that's
this
it.
fucking mold line, bro. What the fuck? Or seam line.
It looked
that
like he
it?
rolled around in a pile of wet white paint.
Well, it's a white dog and stone.
I know, but it doesn't look like fur. He looks like weird.
It's not fur friend.
God damn it.
Can you?
You know, Dean is
display
right.
him-
You're such a fucking hater.
Okay, Fern. You know what? Fucking go sit on the floor then.
Wow.
Take a shortcut through a bench.
Yeah.
See, all right.
All right.
Well, you're
let's,
fucking.
Let's get back to After Dark.
let's get back to After Dark. Yeah. Dean, how was your week so far?
Pretty good. I went to the doctor today.
Ooh, did you get your pee-pee touched?
I didn't get my pee touched. I thought I was going to actually.
He scrubbed extra.
No, so I walk in. Okay, first of all, they pissed me off.
Ah, shit.
They text me yesterday. Your appointment's tomorrow. Check in early. So I fucking check in. It takes like 10 minutes. Put in all your information. Make sure everything's up to date. Make sure your insurance is good. And then it's like, oh, it's a $30 copay. I'm like, okay, cool. So I pay the fucking thing. Then it's like, show up 15 minutes early. I'm like, all right. So today I drive all the way over there. I'm 30 minutes early.
Nice.
I walk in.
Good play.
I put my name on the fucking sheet. I'm next, right? I sit there. I'm the only motherfucker in the waiting room. So I'm sitting there. I'm chatting with people in the Patreon chat. And this fucking old ass, rickety ass dude fucking hobbles in there with his geriatric wife and I guess his daughter or something.
Do you get her number?
No. And then she was like 50. I mean, if this guy's old, she's, might be his daughter, but she's old as shit too. So they start talking to the lady at the counter And she's like, okay, fill out all this fucking paperwork. Because he didn't fucking sign in early like I did.
Yeah.
So it's fucking sitting there. The daughter's like, so, do you remember your doctor's name? Here, let me write it down for you. What medicine were you taking? I'm sitting there like, dear God, like you're unprepared for this, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they're fucking around for 20 minutes, turn in the paperwork, and then they fucking take him immediately. I was like, what the fuck? Why did I sign in early for this shit? And then I waited another 30 minutes.
Okay, that's the question. So at what point, like let's say your appointment's at 11, when did you actually make it back to like the start of the appointment?
So my appointment was at 1. I got there at 12:30. I don't think I got seen until, I don't know, like 1:20, 1:30.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anything above, I think, 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was like, that was the whole fucking point of signing in early so I could just walk through the goddamn door. But this old fuck.
Yeah. No, I get it. Dean, I'm with you. In fact, I've thought about this a long time. This one doctor's office, they were like, what did they say? If you're more than 15 minutes late to your appointment, you get charged a no-show fee. But then the doctor can see you 30 minutes later, and I'm just supposed to fucking wait? Can I charge him a no-show fee, bro? Like, wasting my fucking time. I'm with you, Dean. I'm totally with you.
It's the world for you.
Yeah,
Did you say anything?
No.
Pussy.
I don't want him to say I can't come
Now when he's about to cough.
He's got his nuts in his hand. He's like, hey,
you should.
It's 120.
That old guy ahead
oh,
of me,
but yeah. So anyway, I walk back.
Was
there.
the old man having like a medical emergency or like?
No,
not
it's just it's not a emergency clinic. It's like just a fucking doctor's
generic.
office.
Okay.
Yeah, like a family doctor. Like, so I go back there, and the lady's like, "Okay, you're here for your physical," and I was like, "The fuck." Because physicals usually involve, grabbing your balls and turning your head in a coffin. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not here for a physical.
Were you there for like labs or?
Yeah, I'd already done my labs, so it was just
you
to check
results.
up. Yeah, go over everything.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I'm just going to check your eyes. And I was like,
motherfucker, ain't the optometrist?
What? I was like, there's nothing wrong with my eyes. What are you talking about?
You're in the wrong place.
Yeah, I was like, I fucking did my lab work. Like, I'm not here for a physical. I don't know what you're talking about. So she finally got her shit together and we were on the same page. But I was like, this bitch about to grab me by the balls. But
if I can ask, like everything was good with your results, like everything's satisfied.
Yeah, the doctor was like, other than being fat, she was like, your numbers are good, everything's nice. I still have high blood pressure, but I'm still taking my meds. And
did she squeeze your balls?
No, she did not squeeze my balls. I was worried about about the diabetes, but as you remember, I stopped drinking sugar.
Proud of you, bro.
What are we, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
So yeah, my numbers like in like the normal range. I was like, thank God.
Nice, bro.
I was really worried about that.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, bro.
But everything else.
How long did it take to get your results back?
I went on Monday to do the blood work, so 2 days.
That's good. It fucking took me like a whole month. I was fucking panic attack the whole fucking month and shit. I'm like, fuck, what if I had diabetes?
Well, so she just gives me the paperwork to get the blood work done. So I just did it the Monday before my appointment. It's like a walk-in place. You just walk in and do it. She's like, you can do it any time before.
And then the worst part, when I show up to fucking get the results, he doesn't even mention it. Like, he just completely forgot about it. He thought I was just there for a regular checkup. I'm like,
dude.
Bro, what about my results? And he flipped over the page. He's like, oh yeah, you don't got it. Like, you're good. No, motherfucker, I've been fucking anxiety attacks all fucking month thinking about that shit. And you're just so nonchalant about it.
In fact,
you guys have that like that My Chart. I'm not sure if it's a nationwide.
You could look at your results on that.
So you could have looked at your results like 24 hours after you got them.
She printed them out for me, but in fact, last time I went to see her, which was, I think I see her every 3 months. She was like, I want you to keep a log of your blood pressure because I'm on the medication. But a fucking blood pressure machine is like not cheap. And I was like, I'm not fucking.
What do you want, if you don't mind me asking?
My blood pressure machine keeps a log on in the system.
Your blood pressure medicine's expensive?
No, the machine to measure your blood pressure.
Okay. So I think it's like blood pressure medicine's pretty cheap.
No, yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
like
machine-
$4, but
Yeah, the machine's pretty pricey, especially one to get like big enough for our big ass arm.
right, dude. In fact, they always have a problem taking my blood pressure. And I was like, fuck, I didn't do it because I'm not gonna buy the thing. Like, I'm just not. I was like, dude, she's gonna get so fucking mad at me that I didn't do the fucking log. Never even mentioned it. I was like, oh, thank God. But yeah, one time I went to CVS because I had an ear infection. They have like a minute clinic. You just like sign up and go.
Yeah.
And the lady took my blood pressure with the fucking cup that didn't fit. And it was like, your blood pressure is like 190 over whatever. Like, I have to call the ambulance. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm fine. Like, 190 is like, you're fucking huffing and puffing. I was like, there's no fucking shot that thing's accurate. I was like, don't call the ambulance. It's fucking gonna charge me. He's like, I have to legally. And I was like, okay, well, can you fucking retry the blood pressure machine, like a different cuff or like on my wrist, or because you could do it on the forearm and the wrist.
Yeah.
And she did it, and it was like fucking normal. I was like, thank God. I was like, fucking bitch about to cost me $4,000 or however the fucking much ambulance costs.
I would say the machines aren't that expensive that it's not a bad investment just to like know where you're at, you know?
It's good to be in Canada, eh, Chris?
I could just drive to HEB and check my blood pressure.
Oh yeah, that's fine. But you get your groceries delivered, so I mean.
Yeah, but I could drive, is what I'm saying.
I just want my boy to be here a long time. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to be. I want all my boys to be here. I can't handle this again. Let's see.
You're about to drive me away just based on your attitude.
Well, at least you'll still be alive. Chris,
Been
how
on
we doing
one
today? Dude, I'm on one every day, actually.
Yeah,
Chris, how have you been?
Man, you know, you guys have done enough of this on After Dark, but you know, lost a very dear pet a little over a week
man.
ago.
I'm so sorry.
And
That's awful.
we don't need to rehash all that. You guys have been through it. You know what it's like.
Not
And
fun.
yeah, man. But you know, things are good. Otherwise, you know, that's something you can't avoid. And it was hitting that average expectancy mark, you know. But
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know, man. Things have been good. Got a lot of plates spinning. Got a lot of fun side projects going on. Kind of feel like I don't have enough time to work on them, but it's good.
Yeah. There you go. John, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. Hanging out. Still recovering a little bit from the lack of sleep, the Costco runs, but
I know. It paid off, though.
yeah,
You got a
it's
fucking Mewtwo, bro.
How was that?
it was crazy. It was really crazy. A lot of people. I was
A
expecting
lot
to
of
go
Mexicans. When
A
you took
lot
that
more
video, I
Fil-
was like,
there. More Filipino.
well, no, I heard a lot of people talking Spanish. I was like, motherfucker, are you in Canada?
Yeah, it was the people behind me were, and then on that one, and then. But it's crazy. I went in at 3:30. I thought, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna turn back
PM
home.
or AM?
A.M. 3:30 a.m. They open at 8:30 a.m. 9 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm gonna go just to see, and I know I'm gonna turn back home because there's nobody there. And both times loaded with people. So
Yeah.
that's it. That's all. So I've been going on that tear, been enjoying it, and got a little bit of luck. Otherwise,
Yeah,
everything's the
you
same.
pulled the chase card.
You didn't
Well,
have
that
to beat
wasn't
nobody
that
up
wasn't
or
from
nothing?
Costco, man. That was on another.
No,
day.
that was like a gas station, you said, or something.
Yeah, a convenience store from when I was a kid. Just stopped by randomly, grabbed a cart, grab a pack, and
Were they on the counter or like?
no,
were they,
man,
like, the blister
bro, it
packs?
was so random. It was I just went in. I told my wife stop the car for a second at this convenience store because that's where I went as a kid to buy my Pokemon cards, and I've never been there afterwards. But we drove by because we were going to my grandparents' house, and I just randomly went in and I asked the guy, "Do you have Pokemon cards?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he pulls out three packs, and that's all he had with these 3 packs. and they were $14.99 a pop, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm not gonna pay $14.99 a pop. So I left, and I left the packs there. And I went to my grandparents' house, and those packs were itching the entire time. They're like, I should go grab
Willy
them.
and the Wonka and the chocolate
That was
factory.
it. And I went, I picked up 2 of them, threw them in the glove compartment, and then opened them halfway, and the damn chase card was there, almost dropped. First pack.
Pull the car over, honey.
In over 20 years that I've opened. So
That's crazy, bro.
yeah,
Well,
Are you gonna get it graded?
I want to get a grading. I just got the
You got the top loader. You got protected.
top loader and thing. Thanks to Sean,
Yeah.
he sent over. I got them in. I'm gonna do it after the show and put it in there. I don't know. We'll see if I get it graded.
Hey,
if it
congrats,
doesn't,
Ron. That's pretty
Thanks,
good.
man.
Learn
Yeah.
carb counting. Used to be 419. Got diabetes. Learn carb counting down to 260. Ron, how many carbs do you eat a day, if you don't mind me asking? Dude, that's awesome, John. That's pretty crazy.
1 in 1,000 chance to pull that card. That came out on Instagram today. I don't know if it's legit or not.
I don't know the odds about that, but it's
Yeah, I got
that's
some
that's the
top
card that
loaders.
everyone fucking is opening packs for.
I don't know. We'll see. I got a few
Even
more.
the less rarity of that card looks pretty cool too. The gold one, and then that one that's like, it's not like muted colors, but it's kind of like a pastel theme. Looks really nice. Let's see here, Mike, Aruba Mike, how we doing?
As you said, I'm doing great, man. I'm on the back half of my vacation, so I figured didn't have to get up and work in the morning. I'd swing by and check in on the boys on After Dark since it's been a while. But, yeah, it was good, man. I spent 5 days in Aruba. Just got back 2 days ago, so
Jamaica,
living the dream, man.
wanna
I
take you
thankfully have nothing to complain about today. It's a good time.
Where's that at? Aruba.
Mexico.
It's in the Caribbean, but it is just north of South America. So it sits below like Jamaica and
So
Dominican and
not Mexico.
It's all Mexico if you really think about it.
It's in the
Doesn't
Gulf
have his
of-
head on his
Gulf
body.
of
so-
America.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
My bad. Lane the Legend Kramer, my sweet boy. How we doing today?
Well, apparently, we both on Monday were not having such a hot day.
I've been struggling, bro.
Yeah, this week's been okay, but my week is done, so
Nice.
you know.
18
But
day,
the
goddamn.
last this entire week through Wednesday work was murderous. But I was trying to get a bunch of extra stuff completed since I was going to be off tomorrow, and then obviously we have the holiday on Friday. So I was trying to get everything done so I didn't have anything like looming over me like effing go face with a knife or something on Monday morning when I came in. But I got all my stuff done. Otherwise, though, it's mostly just all the money I had to spend getting my car fixed up in the last 3 weeks or so. That hurt quite a bit. But I'm interested to see how things are going to go with my family, because they're having a bunch of people visiting and stuff this weekend, and
Yeah.
I don't know, just like kind of this weekend I don't really have I'll be glad if I don't catch COVID like I did for July 4th a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And right now I'm just kind of supposed to be finally having a statue that got delayed getting to me. They costed roughly almost probably about $1,800 finally on its way to me. Should get to me on Saturday, so I'm really excited for that. Not excited for the huge ass box it's probably going to be in. And then I've been just mostly for the other part, just kind of enjoying the summer, because my drive to work isn't quite as bad usually in the evenings trying to come home because of the summer. So no school, or University of Texas isn't in session fully. So traffic's been a lot better. But otherwise, it's just been very excited because been doing a couple giveaways. Like obviously for one thing, here when you guys hit 75K, which I think, are you there or you're all, like really on the precipice?
Almost there.
Almost
Probably.
hitting it?
I would wager by next Monday.
Yeah, because you guys were like 74.9 or something like that, I think, when I last
We're
looked.
36 away.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's awesome. You guys are almost there.
Fucking itching, bro.
Yep. And then you got that big giveaway where you'll be giving away Bo-Katan, the Mark
Yeah, I can't
50, and I think something else. Didn't you have with it too? Or am I
Josh Nothing.
missing
Yeah. Some T-shirts and then
Yeah.
the Maximum Spooderman.
So that's awesome that you guys are almost at that milestone, especially because you have some very nice, diverse content on your channel
Yeah.
over the course of a week. Just kind of looking forward to July 4th weekend. I think it'll be nice. I might go to the movie theater for the first time in a bit. I did go see Lilo and Stitch, and had
How was
very
that?
mixed it was okay. I don't think the live actions beat the animated originals.
Nah.
I have heard really good things about the How to Train Your Dragon.
Hey,
overall.
man, he says he needs that Bo-Katan, bro. You got
Yeah.
2 entries, bro. You got a good shot.
Bo-Katan is a cool figure.
Yeah.
But I'm actually really excited for a Star Wars novel that might be coming in August, because it's about the Bad Batch. It's supposed to kind of explain what happened to like the island and stuff they were hiding on and stuff in between one of the seasons. I just finished a book yesterday that I was very slow at reading. It was about Mace Windu. It was set like a week after the death of Qui-Gon Jinn in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And
Spoilers.
Sorry, I give you a 25-year limit.
Yeah. Well, the death of Qui-Gon was famously spoiled by the back of the soundtrack, which said Qui-Gon's
is it
noble
really?
end on one track.
Oh God,
And
that's
that was
so
before the
funny.
movies even came in theaters. It was on the back
They
of the
would
soundtrack.
they would just put whatever the scene was or something. But yeah, no, I just read that and it was kind of, I actually was one, because as noted, Mace Windu is not my favorite Jedi character, but actually I really enjoyed how he was written in the book, and it was a nice adventure focused on him and kind of a different perspective he had as a Jedi. So it did kind of show something you didn't necessarily get to see in the movies so much.
Well, he totally could have stopped the fall of the Republic if he wasn't such a dingus, but
Well, that's a lot of the Jedi could have possibly stopped the Republic if they didn't have, if Palpatine didn't have plot armor as part of it, and also if they had a minuscule amount of brain power.
All right, let's wrap this up. Fern, how was your week? We got so far away from Lane's week. Fern, how was your week?
Pretty good. Not as exciting as Lane's week, but been a lot of birthday parties this week. My little sister had a birthday. My little niece, my cousin. So
How old did your sister turn?
a lot of the gatherings. 16. My niece also turned 16, and then my cousin turned 30. So the big birthdays this week.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of gatherings, getting ready for 4th of July. That's about it.
Nice. Very good. This week has been, Fern had his first full week with his new chair. You'll love to see it. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Vivi got, so we were thinking about it, and I think we decided it was time for her to get her her first Apple ID, and as a kid, like, she has an iPad and she has my old phone, and so she could be texting us, but since she was using my Apple ID, I had turned messages off, so like she wouldn't be getting my messages, and then vice versa. But it was always kind of a problem. Like the pictures would sync, or like she would take a picture and it would go to my phone. It was just kind of getting annoying. And I think the crux of it was she had a sleepover last week, and all her friends were able to text their parents, and like, they also keep in touch as teammates, all the girls. And so we thought, let's look into this. And so we got her set up with her own Apple ID, and it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. The first day she had the phone set up, it kind of didn't transfer as cleanly as I would have liked, but we figured it out after kind of like the first few hours, like to get my contacts off of the iPad, and then hers, her address book is much more limited. But for her, the first day that she had it, she texted every single person in her phone book, which is only like 10 people, at 5 a.m. Good morning. And
that's so funny.
No one was upset, but like, they were like, hey, like it might be best going forward if we text you when we get off of work, because we go to work really early. And then like I said, some of the numbers didn't transfer cleanly. So in FaceTime, I don't use to FaceTime that often, but I had FaceTimed my cousin, who's a doctor, and we were going over some stuff for a clinic. And so she's like, oh, whose number is that? So she just dialed it, which we had to yell at her about that. But, my cousin was the weekend, and she answered, and she was like, oh, it's Vivi. And like 10 minutes later, my cousin's like, hey, Vivi just FaceTimed me. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I had to tell her not to just be calling random people, and then also not to just FaceTime people randomly. And then it's also like, for her, it's the idea that like when someone messages you, you don't have to drop everything you're doing to message them back, right? You have the autonomy to say like, I'll message them back later. But for the first day, any text she got, she would stop everything she was doing and then, type out the message. And she's actually a really good text. Like the sentences are really good, which is kind of surprising to me. But, we were showing her the fun stuff like GIFs, and we were showing her, how to do like the invisible photos, where you have to like scrub the things. And then now she can actually call us. So I was playing Peak, and Victoria was driving home, and I was like, hey, call your mom and ask what we're doing for dinner, or if you want to go somewhere, let her know. And it's just nice, like, she'll text you like, hi dad, how was your day, love you. It's just like so crazy to like, I don't know, it's like new to me. Like I feel like Mike, I'm curious how that all went with you, like with your kid, because I feel like it's like, I don't know how if you guys have like a house phone, Mike, but we don't. We just have our cell phones. So it's like, when I was a kid, I had a phone before I had a cell phone. But for her, it's like, hey, I'm talking to your grandma. Here's the phone. Like, but now she can then just go and call people whenever she wants. Now it's like a whole new thing, and it's like kind of blowing my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, man, it's funny you started talking about that, and I remembered when we did it very clearly, and I could tell you, it feels to me like that was kind of the turning point of, your little girl starting to separate, from mommy and daddy a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, right? It's exciting and new for them, so yeah, you're going to drop everything to text your friends because it's your new toy, right? So yeah, that makes sense. It'll die out.
This was cute. She texted me a Blippy. She was working on the Blippy app. She's your little spaceship. And then before bed, I know Chris is going to love this. She was setting up all her Labubu's in her bed, and she wanted to show me how they were all having a sleepover. It's just so crazy. I think you're right, Mike. Like, it's the beginning, it's like, it's so crazy, bro. And then like, I think we were like, okay, we gave her too much power too early. So I was like, okay, before 7 a.m. and after 10 p.m., on certain days, the only people she can text is me and Victoria. That's it.
That's what I was going to say.
Because I don't want her bothering people. Yeah,
you can really
it's pretty
lock those
powerful.
down.
Yeah, and then like after 10 p.m., pretty much all the apps like They don't delete, but they like hide themselves on the device.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And then it's cool because you can see like how many times she's picking it up. You can set time limits. What's the first thing she does when she picks it up? And then there's also, you know, if someone's trying to send inappropriate messages or vice versa, there's also like filters for that as well that it'll alert the parents. It's really cool, honestly. Like, I don't know, like totally change the family dynamic because like, you know, be like, oh, I need Vivi to get the trash out. Like, boom, there, go take the trash out. Boom, like. It's so crazy. It's changed, bro. It's game changing.
If you're anything like me, it's all great. And then when you really need her to do something and you text her and you don't get a response, I get so pissed. So especially now, right? Because she's got the fucking phone. She's got an iPad. She's
Like
got
an
an
Apple
Apple
Watch?
Watch.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
And I'm like,
Like,
what the fuck? Like, I need you to bring me something. And God forbid, I know you're sitting up there.
So give me a
staring at the
fucking beer.
thing. That's usually what it is. It's something like that. Yeah.
His daughter's like, Mom, Dad's making me get the beer again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong, DJ.
You'll remember it, man, as
for sure.
Kind of the turning point.
It's so cool though. Like, I don't know. It's weird to have like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like another person to text, I guess. Like another person that, you know, I care to text. I suppose might be the right word. It's really crazy. And like my mom got after me. Oh, why she text me at 5 a.m. And I'm like, look, like it's the first day she had the phone. Yeah. And I was like, but I think there are worse problems than your granddaughter. You're the first person she texted in the morning, like one of the first people. Like there's people that, you know, don't give a shit about their grandparents. They'll never text their grandparents. Like at least she wants to talk to you, right? You know, there might be a day when she doesn't want to talk to you. So I was like, you know, she's just learning it. Like we're learning it as well. Like, you know, when we were kids, they had like the track phone was my first phone. And I also didn't really know how to use it. And so like in the house phone, you know, like when someone hangs up, the call would just end. But when I got my first phone, this was like, I'm trying to think, maybe like 2003, 2004. I didn't know you had to end the call with like the end button. And so like my first day I used a bunch of like the minutes on there because I didn't end the call. But I was like, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Like you fucking just gave me this thing and I don't know if there's how to use this thing. Now it's so intuitive, but it's cool, Mike. It's crazy.
It's funny you say that because I was talking
and the
with
gifts,
my
bro.
daughter
She's actually
today.
really good at using gifts, bro. It's so funny.
My daughter's trying to have some friends over for the weekend, and you know they're all in like this group chat, you know, and her phone's blowing up because they're talking about this, and I was laughing. I said, you know, just you guys like to make fun. I said, well, back in my day,
yeah,
like it was literally like a friend phone tree, right? Like I would call, you know, this guy, and he would call this guy, and then you know, in an hour we would all meet up at the park to play basketball, and you know, you didn't really know who was coming because you didn't talk to half the people. You know,
is it anything like the Patreon chat, where it's just like ping, 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 ping?
Dude, her phone blows up worse than that, man. She silenced that.
You gotta mute. You gotta mute it.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm just like a lot happy I kept my flip phone from when I was in high school. So.
I still have my first phone.
That's what they'll be using.
I wish I would have kept my pager.
Pager.
Back when I was in high school.
Jesus, Mike.
Yeah, man. I remember it was like one of those like clear, it was like a translucent teal pager. It was good times.
They were doing stone carvings and
smoke signals.
No paper.
Kids don't know how easy they got it these days.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You put on something like Blippi on YouTube, and you get the stupid commercial because no one pay. Well, I don't pay for premium. A few seconds long. Oh, next. Remember back in the day, how many commercials we used to have? Holy.
Yeah.
That was the best part. And sometimes you're watching the.
I was gonna say,
toys.
Love the commercials back then, man, because that told me what cereal I needed to beg mom to buy, so I can get some stupid plastic toy out of the thing.
We're getting old, man. We're getting old.
Yeah, that's good times.
Good times. Yeah. Anyone else have anything before we cut this one off?
Have a happy 4th of July.
DJ says, I mean, yeah, they get caught, but they did the damage. There were kids who were sending mean messages to others just by having monitoring. Yeah, that's for sure. And we made it clear to my daughter, like, at any point, like, we're going to look through this phone. So,
yep.
You know, anything that you send, we will find out about it if it's not appropriate. And I think she knows, like, we mean business.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to spot check that when they're not expecting it.
And I wish it was a little bit more intuitive, like, you know, from the iPhone to do that. And I guess it's a privacy thing for the kid, but it's like, it would be nice if I could just log in and be like, hey, let me just scan over these messages real quick. I mean, I get it, but that's the only thing I would say I would prefer.
Privacy for the kid. Do kids need privacy? Oh, no.
No, I'm saying, like, well, I'm not saying that you should have no privacy, but I think as a kid, like, you know, we believe when I was a kid, I believe I should have some privacy, right? You know.
But yeah, no privacy. When I was a kid, I shared a room with
like privacy is privacy. You get that phone. That phone. There's gonna be a basket. You put that phone in like the end of class when you're done your homework. Put that phone at the end of the night. It's too scary out there. It's too scary. Maybe I just overprotective, but it's too scary. Too many psychos. Too many
weird things.
Way weird. I don't even put. Yeah, I won't get into it. We're almost at it.
Do you think it's any worse than when we were kids, but we just didn't know about it? Like we were
no, we just hear about it more now because of the internet.
Yeah. No, I think it's way worse. We didn't have the technology that we have now. This whole AI and everything at the palm of your hand with these cell phones and taking pictures and sending them and oh man, I don't know. That's all.
You never sent a nude Polaroid, John? Come on.
But it's that was a lot of megabytes to send back in the day.
Put it in an envelope.
It'd be a big envelope.
It's a big envelope.
It's a legal document at that point.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah. Well,
have they
touched them all tonight?
Without
go ahead, Mike.
spoilers?
That's a good idea from DJ.
Just curious. Without spoilers, have you guys watched Squid Game season 3? I haven't started.
I will say, without spoilers, I was underwhelmed.
A lot of you're not the only person. I'm hearing that a lot.
I was gonna say that seems to be the case because it's been quiet.
Yeah, John or Mike. It felt to me like this. They didn't anticipate how successful the first season would be, and they're like, "Shit, we got to run it back." And then I also felt like it really just feels like they put an arbitrary pause in the season for no reason. Like, you know, this could have all just been the second season.
Yeah.
Because I recall the second season.
Because he had to go to Acolyte.
Yeah. I think that's the leader of the Gorgonites. But so, or Ocula. Archer, thank you. I did not like it, and I just didn't feel like. I felt like season 2 was really good, and I felt like season 3 was really bad. And I love season 1, obviously. Yeah.
Seems like they're expanding now, though.
I was spoiled.
To the U.S.
I'm not going to spoil anything, Mike, but I was disappointed.
Yeah, my sister came up to me. She was like, "Have you seen it?" I was like, "No." And then she tells me what happens. I'm like, "What the hell?"
The 16-year-old beat her ass for him.
It looks like they're expanding.
Luckily for her, I haven't seen season 1 or 2, but
Jesus Christ.
Well then,
oh, Jesus Christ.
There's like a timeline they're doing almost where it's, I don't know. I saw some photo.
Yeah, it was like the Squid Game cinematic universe or something.
Yeah, 100%, exactly.
Well, you know, you guys, yesterday there was some rumors that somebody is being paid to work on Kenobi season 2. So, you know, call your congressman and complain.
Damn it.
Yeah. At least it's not Buka Boba.
Yeah, they're pretty equal. Yeah.
Samara Morrison was complaining about that.
About
right? He's like, "Where's my season 2?"
He's like, "Ahsoka's getting a season 2. Where's the Book of Boba Fett season 2?"
Yeah, we don't need to see that fucking
shit. Get him off payroll. Yeah, you didn't watch it. Oh yeah, Ironheart. DJ's talking about Ironheart. That seems to be.
I saw like 2 screenshots and I was like, I'm good, bro.
No, it's they say 3rd episode is where it really picks up.
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw one screenshot today.
Episode.
Yeah, I saw a screenshot today that was like, okay.
Yeah, I saw the leak from the last episode, and it was kind of like, really? They're putting that in this show? Okay. Talk about desperate to try and pull viewers.
Text me the spoiler, Mike. I'm curious.
My friend Bilbo.
Bilbo?
I guess it's not the same. Isn't that his name from Borat?
Yeah.
My neighbor Bing Bong.
Yeah.
You're never gonna get these.
You will never skip this. My wife.
All right. We've officially touched them all this time. Love you guys. Everyone have a good night. Be safe. Love your friends. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Take care.